What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time.
What's up, everybody? It's my birthday on Friday, so this being the closest stream to that date and the closest chapter to that date, that makes this 1164 birthday chapter this year. So excited to have everybody here today. We've got a few things to cover. Obviously, we've got the chapter. I know the SBS came out. I haven't read it yet, so we'll do that on stream. And season 2, March 10th, which is also Chrissy's birthday. Before we get started, I do want to shout out big dono that came in right before the stream from Veronica. Thank you, Veronica. Said happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, 10th of March. Happy birthday, dearie. Happy birthday to you, 10th of March. Load of exclamation points. So yeah, it's great to see that everybody's excited about finally having the release date revealed. So it's not gonna be too long into 2026. And shout out to everybody in the chat for the birthday wishes. Truly appreciate it, guys. Get ready, Randy. Exciting chapter. I know it's hard to believe following our previous, but it's true. Excited. I have no spoilers, so. Uh-huh. Okay, so it's Jody List is now JS. What is it? I don't know why YouTube is doing this new thing. Where like Big Stinky is now LBST. Is it something that I can? Because I didn't click anything to turn that on. Is there something that I can click to turn it off though? Like, is it a new thing that YouTube is doing and I can fix it? If it is, let me know. Yes, today's daylight savings, so for some people not in the United States, this may feel like it's a different time. For everybody in the United States, I was early today, or at least on time. But either way, thanks Chin, thanks Barry, thank you everybody. Let's get into this. Oh, another thing that it was Bweezy put in the Discord was it seems that they've revealed the eventual voice actor for Shamrock, who is different, or at least it's implied that it's the voice actor for Shamrock, and it is implied that it's a different person. And the original voice actor for Shanks is the one during the Reverie. So I've been saying that was Shanks and not Shamrock.
Another one.
Yeah. Thanks, Dizza. I'm pulling up the chapter. Okay. Chapter 1164, Davy Blood. Reader request, Piranha chasing a rabbit with a watch. We've got rabbit ghosts here. I'd also like to point out that this particular rabbit, while not my actual full name, is named Randolph. So thank you, Oda, for putting the character with the closest to at least my first name in the story on the cover of the chapter that coincides with the week of my birthday. So. Yeah. I enjoy that. And if we get the reveal that Eris is Marshall D. Eris or whatever, that's... Marshall's another one of my names. So, might go 2 for 2. Alright, so here we are. Page 2. Rox has been whammied. Domi Reversey. Yeah, listen to Neo and Roger. Hit that like button, guys. Get some more people in here.
Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself, yeah.
Did our attacks do nothing to that spider? Says Roger. Garb's confused. We've got shock faces all around. Whitebeard, Dragon, Big Mom. What's going on here? Persistent thou art. Don't downplay the power of humanity, monster. Davy D. Jones was once the king of the world.
It's about to get spicy.
Alright. So, King of the Ancient Kingdom, King of the World, Davy D. Jones. World government swoops in. Dethrones King of the World. Emo replaces him. And terraforms the world in their own image. Cleansings, floods, all of that. The true hero of the Void Century flashback may just be Davy D. Jones. And I love that this goes all the way back. Davy back fight. Robin talking about the curse. The person looking into what happened 800-900 years ago when Davy D. Jones was king of the world. Suction, do you think Davy Jones was actually evil, which is why the 20 Kings had to ally to defeat him? Probably not. Sure, it's a misunderstanding. That's usually Oda's MO. Emu could have been like Davy Jones's right hand, and you know, was super close, and then just Brutus, Judas style, you know, betrays Davy Jones because they covet what they had. Something along those lines, maybe, or, you know, it's anytime someone has power, someone wants it, usually. But we'll get into more chat things like that later on. I'm literally on like the second page here, so we're keep going. But that is, that's a reveal for page 2. All right. Silence. He was never king. Not for an instant. The grievance between Mu and Davy has nothing to do with thee. Emu did not acknowledge that Davy was the king. There's historical parallels to this. names are escaping me, but I know that there have been people in the past that have tried to say that they were, you know, king of a certain area, unrecognized by another king of another area, something like that. I mean, there may have been some sort of like Civil War type split. Hell, even the American Civil War, you know, there was a time in the United States where there were two presidents. Anyway, then why are you so panicked over something as trivial as the Davy name? It's kept you terrified for years, hasn't it? Also, shout out to Rox, like, still, like, smack talking while he's been Domi reversied. The thought that Davy's will might be passed down and one day come for you to fulfill the promise. Again, talking about the promise. This is going back, you know, potentially to the Joy Boy Apology Poneglyph, which speaks of a promise, all of that. Next page. What's more frightening to you, Davy D. Jones or Joy Boy? I'm loving this. Ceased I dreaming their kind will never be seen again once I have eradicated thee. It's like I can't say these emu lines without putting some voice on. I have found excellent soldiers to serve Moo, Davy. Gigantic, harmless, and conflicted. The giants, you fool. Don't mess with Harold. They only want peace. Indeed, a golden opportunity. Such a willing puppet of a king will never come along twice. No. Just like thee, in fact. Now stop wasting time. Bring an end to the dream of Davy. Ah! Huh, Rox? What did it do to you? What happened up there, Rox? Damn it, I'm going to disappear. That's a hell of a last line. Damn it, I'm gonna disappear. Like, that just... Ugh. That sucks. End Davy by thine own hand. Now erase all life that was involved with God Valley. Did you get bigger? All of you move it. There is blood that must be erased from history. Okay, so now Rox has wings. Jumps up to Kaido. You just stab him in the snout. Hey, Rox, what are you doing? Whew. Just yeeted Kaido. Damn you, Rox, you turning on your own people? So that was actually page 7. I've been neglecting the button by accident. So now I'm on 8. Okay, another double page spread. Okay. We got Rox going after Lin. She goes flying. Whitebeard is resolved. I love this shot of Whitebeard. He's ready to throw down. Is that all we are to you, Rox? Impediments? Yes. All right. He's flexing. Let's see what Whitebeard can do. Okay. Okay, shout out to the goat. Just threw that bow at him. Broke the sky a little bit. A lot of power here. Whitebeard shook. Jumping out. Seeing how it's affecting the rest of the island. Reaction shots. Moving on to page 10. Ah, run for your lives, the mountain's coming down. Okay, now that's cool. I've been waiting for that. When you have this like mountain split like that, you just want it to come crashing down. Oh, the page counter is not visible at all. My bad. We'll do that. Okay, we got rocks running away. Mountains coming down. Shot of Eris running. Random pirates. Moving on to the next one. All battleships along the northeast shore withdraw and keep your distance. Northeast shore. That was dangerous. We got someone who's probably related to Charlos, really looking like Charlos. Could this be a young Roswald? Who should be punished for allowing this to happen? Quickly, please, everyone this way. Don't you dare leave without us or we'll have you all put to death. Hurry, my lords! Alright, we got an appearance of Rayleigh and Shacky here. The southwest part of the island. Hurry up, Rayleigh, this island's doomed. Roger better be alright in there. Treasure, treasure, can you believe how much there is? Alright. This guy on Roger's cruise holding the Shanks chest. We got the ZZZs. Shanks is sleeping peacefully amongst all the chaos. Shout out to Daxaki, just seeing him jump into the chat. Everybody say happy birthday to Dak. His birthday was last week too. Whoa, it's a dead end. Make it snappy. Next page. Damn it, I can't even save a single baby. Where did he go? You have to stop, Kuma. Keep going, you'll put us in danger. Kumachi! There might still be lives I can save. Oh, a person. Curses. Stupid Gansui. Shiki. Is there even any escape off of this island? Alright, Shiki's running away with a treasure chest. You thought you could get the best of me? All forces to the shore. We need stretchers. Can't get there. The woods are on fire. Alright. So... it's the person that Kuma's seeing dragon? Is that what's going on here? Anyway, next page. Alright, here we go. We've got Rox and Eris. Now, we knew this was going to happen this chapter. I want some Eris lore to come out from this. That's all I want. Because whatever's going to happen here, if she dies, if she doesn't die, I want her to have a badass moment. That's all. I trust Oda to not just have her be a vehicle. Back. You look just like... ... So you lost then. I'm sorry, dear. You had to face off in order to save us. But it was too early, wasn't it? Teach. We'll jump into the sea. We just have to swim, whatever it takes to keep the Davy blood alive. You have to survive, no matter what it takes. Escapees at the shore. Okay. Here he comes with the swipe. We got some cannon fire going. Ooh wee! She survives via Kuma? Oh.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Nanto you big news!
There's more story to tell. There's more story to tell. And it may not happen here. It may be a future Blackbeard flashback down the line. I hope we find out where they went. I hope there's more story to tell here. Let's just get it out. But now this is something else, though. I like this. That's insane. He just hooped in there. Poof, poof. I love that. Single-handedly responsible for putting Blackbeard on the board. Which also makes me want to go back to the conversation between Kuma and Moria. To see if it seems like Kuma knows that the guy who just replaced Crocodile is somebody that he unleashed on the world. Like, does Kuma know? Does he know? Riddler meme? Anyway, next page. Continue, Davy. Snuff out every light of life left on the island. Hurry up, Vice Admiral Garp. There's no time. No, you hurry. How many are still on the island? Where are you now, Roger? I'm fine. Once everyone's on the ship, let me know. Got that? Ah, stop it, Rocks! Rocks? Why does he look like that? Okay. Next page looks like a double. Alright. We got Garp and Roger ready to face off. Get out here, Rocks. Davy. Look at what a mess you are. Can't let you go after my crew. Roger. Garp, what's that voice? Help me. Ooh, voice of all things. Why do you look like that? Please just kill me. Are we implying that Garp has a voice of all things here? Can he hear it? Or is it just Roger? Because this is huge if that's the case. But obviously Roger's hearing it. But I don't know if Garp is. Is he? And then it's Rocks on the attack to be continued. Is that really it for Whitebeard? I feel like Whitebeard's gotta come in. He can't be down for the count like that. But, I mean, we're finally at the moment that is the actual part of the lore, right? Garp and Roger working together to take this man down. This is crazy. Best part of the chapter is Kuma coming in with that save, though. The fact that Eris survived. Now, it just means that we're gonna get like another Blackbeard story down the line where she dies. And whew. You know what I love about this too? Is it makes Blackbeard so much better, right? Because he's actually gonna have his mom for a little bit, maybe, to tell him all of the things that he needs to know. Like, that's why he's in the know. What makes Teach so ruthless, though? That's what I can't wait to find out.
Savage.
Just KKII 2440 supered and said happy birthday. A great weekend, Halloween, One Piece, and Fatal Fury got Ken and Chun-Li free DLC. Jonna has the Marvel vs. Capcom Super 2. Postal! Appreciate you. Thank you. Crush said, Teach is ruthless because he saw what being a good friend gets you. Nothing. Rox was loyal to the end with Harold, and Harold did nothing for Rox. Hey, look. Until I see otherwise, I'm still captain of the Harold's Trash fan club. I don't know. There's only been a couple of parts with him that I liked. So, he's got some work he's got to do. Chris said, I looked into the live chat showing Handel's thing. YouTube slowly rolled it out across channels It is to prevent impersonation. The host of the live stream can't change it or opt out. Okay.
You loyal.
Alejandro Salas, member for 29 months, said, final villain having his mom. What does Oda mean? I know, I was actually just thinking about that. I was just like, it's the one character in the story that may have had his mom for a pivotal amount of time. What's Oda trying to say? What's he trying to say? Nothing good. Nothing good about moms, that's for sure. But it'd be kind of crazy if this situation like changes eras, right? Like, did she break? She sends him on that path. Like, look at what they did. Like, you have to destroy them, son. You gotta go and get them. It's an unprecedented power among One Piece characters. A living and supportive mother.
Savage.
Day 133. It's they comment about Blackbeard is just about Teach inheriting Rox's will or more. Again, it is literally just Luffy and Zoro noticing that Burgess, Doc Q, and Augur are part of his crew, that he's a captain. They're acknowledging that that man is a captain. There is nothing more to it's they. X said, appreciate y'all. Scorpios unite. Yep. Scorpio season. Shout out to Terrible TJ. Super and said, what if Kuma accidentally sent Eris and Teach to the Holy Land? Teach saves himself and
loyal.
frees the Holy Land, but Kuma saved others and then fled God Valley. That would be so tragic. Like, I do not want that. I'd love if he just sent them to Ohara or something. I doubt we will find out in this flashback, though. But it would be nice. Like, Oda has multiple options here. Like, he can totally get away with never showing us until we actually like have Blackbeard in the main focus. Oda could do that, or he could give us a 2-panel thing where we see what island they're on, and then we can continue to theorize. We may get that. We may not. Ain't Me Too, member for 22 months, said, Eris knows Rock's plan. Do you think that explains why Blackbeard was insistent on getting his first fruit? This just explains why Blackbeard's plans are so methodical. It has to tie into it. Teach knows that the only way to win is the long game. And he's very effective at playing that particular game. Lydia Raven, member for 23 months, said, "Happy birthday, Randy." Thank you. How many chapters do you think we have left in this flashback? God Valley / Herald. What else needs to be accomplished once we get back to Elbaf? Will Usopp have any feats? So at this point, I think Oda will stretch it out so that the flashback ends with the last chapter of the year. First chapter of the next year will be us going back. So, and there's not,
Savage.
you know, that could be 4 chapters. It could be 6. It could be 7. You know, if Oda's doing the, it could be anywhere from 4 to 7 chapters left. I'll just put it that way. Just because I think that we are getting... Oda's either going to go back to Luffy on the last chapter of the year or the first chapter of the year. That's my prediction. I've not checked the new SBS. We're going to be doing that on stream soon, but we're talking about the chapter first. Will Usopp have any feats? I mean, it's Elbaf. He better. If Ragnar is a size-changing hammer, I would love to see Usopp use it like a 5-ton hammer, you know, situation. If Luffy is able to Domi Reversey people and give them Gear 5 powers, I'm going to need that to happen to Usopp. Fisher Tiger freed Blackbeard. Does the timeline work out for that? I don't think the timeline works. Because... does it? I don't think so. No, it definitely does. Timeline definitely doesn't work. Still an interesting idea, though. Let's see. Just KKII 2440. Another super appreciate it. Said Whitebeard fight was short. Hope anime fixes that. Oh, don't worry. That part where, you know, like they're clashing. Yeah, that's gonna be 8 minutes. Just that. Just the crack rippling through the mountain, holding it. Close-ups of the eyes, everything, yeah. Emu's scary. I'm gonna take a new world to replace. It's gonna take a new world to replace the old. Otherwise, thy kingdom come. Alejandro Salas. Since Kuma saw Reversey rocks, then Bonnie also did, making her a key to know how to defeat it if Kuma stayed and watched some more. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he just poofed himself to another part of the island to keep helping other people, or if that's his out and he was done after that. But it's a shame that Kuma is currently nonverbal and can't speak to this, but you're right. Bonnie saw all of his memories, so she could see all of this. She is not next to all of this right now, but she could see all of it. Be like, I've seen this before. And I'd like that. Where's the best place to find the The SBS guys. I can probably find it on Twitter. Kaki09, member for 29 months, said happy birthday, thank you. Is this the first time we see a person use the voice of all things to speak to others? It's interesting that rocks can do this. Technically, didn't the Sea Kings do that during Fishman Island? Okay, so let's see here. You know, it's also crazy, right? You know, talking about the you know, the fate of things and the ripple effects, right? Kuma saves Teach, and then Teach captures Bonnie.
You loyal.
Like that's how he repays Kuma. Captures the man's daughter and borderline, not even borderline, requires a visit from Chris Hansen after the way he's talking to her. Dawn Night, 1993, member for 34 months. I'm going to assume that's happy birthday, Captain in German. Said, got around, but hope you had a good one. I appreciate it. Crush sent me the SBS on Discord. Cool. Nice. All right, so I'm opening this up on Reddit. If you guys want to follow along. Love that cover. Oda. So, Frankie and Queen, father and son. Answer, Oh no, they've noticed. They must have seen it in the One Piece Encyclopedia of Evercard. The year that Queen's child was born matches the year Frankie was born. And the year Queen abandoned his child also matches the year Frankie was taken in by Tom. Readers knowing something the characters themselves don't know would be weird. I'll have to bluff my way out of this one. No, they're not. Okay, so Oda very softly confirmed that Queen and Frankie are father and son, which is something that, you know what? Like, address it. Would have been great in Wano. Would have been great not in an SBS. Would have been great in the story. Thanks, Brandon. Oda's talking like Granny Nyan. So you're saying that Queen and Gloriosa produced Frankie? I mean, I don't know. But that's wild that 2 members of Mads would have parents in would have children in the Straw Hat Crew. 2 members of the Straw Hat Crew have parents that were in Mads. Both cyborgs. Question 2. I'd love to see what Vivi looks like at ages 40 and 60. I've sprayed some Sanadachi repellent so you can rest easy this summer. Yay, no more Sonata. Thanks, I'll draw it. Age 40. Let's go, Karu, towards East Blue. Age 60. My, you're quite good. Foo-foo-foo. Future where something bad happens. I'll make you dizzy, you bastard. 60. Luffy? Oh yeah, there used to be a guy like that. So the bad timeline age 40, she's a pirate. And the bad timeline age 60, she's a celestial dragon. But I also, you know, I'm a public Luffy and Vivi shipper, right? So this is just this fuel in the tank. Why are you going to East Blue? What do you need to go over there for? What's in the East Blue for you, Vivi? And why is your bad timeline a version where he's not around? I like this. But why wouldn't I? Anyway. You know the cover story series that you do? My dad said that once a character appears in them, they'll never appear in the story again. Is that true? That's not true at all. Cover stories I've done so far include Buggy, Kobe, Django, Hachin, Wapple, Ace Gadatsu, Meet Baroque Works and L, CP9, Caribou, Jinbei the Straw, Grand Fleet, Beige, Germa, and Yamato. I've done this many times already. Most of these characters have returned into the main story. Basically, the cover stories are to show readers what these characters are up to. There's also a book called Doors, which contains all of these and is very easy to read. Are you perhaps curious if Yamato will appear again? Please look forward to it. Next one. For those who have been wondering, isn't it... I have nothing to say about that one. For those who've been wondering, isn't it about time we put an end to the mystery of the person seen from behind on the cover of Chapter 631? I'll just say, is it Golden Lion Shiki, or perhaps the left hand of the Pirate King, Scopper Gaban? You got a good memory. That's Gaban, of course. He just can't shake off his habit of traveling. He's been wandering around quite a bit. He's a navigator, after all. Okay, so confirmed. The Akazaya 9 have each become daimyo of their respective regions, but how were they chosen? Don't tell me it was all Kinemon's decision. Yes, with the despised Kaido and Orochi gone, and with Odin no longer among them, his son Momonosuke has declared his rule over the nation of Wano. Although Momonosuke's mind is still that of an 8-year-old, of course, it's up to the scabbards to support him. Here's how Wano looks now compared to before. Okabori Town, the prisoner mines, factories, and Onigashima, all of that is gone. Revealed in the cover story, with much discussion among themselves, scabbards decided to spread out across the land as regional daimyos. Flower capital is overseen by Kinemon as senior elder, Nekomamashi as the underworld's boss. Supporting Momonosuke And Yamato, meanwhile, is currently learning about the world. Flower capital, Nekomamashi, Kinemon, Momonosuke. Kibi, Denjiro, Kuri, Inuarashi, Udon, Raizo, Hakamai, Kawamatsu, Ringo, Kikunojo. Well, I'm glad that I'm just glad Kawamatsu wasn't Udon, because that would have been crazy. Like, the man was imprisoned in the mines for so many years, and then he becomes like the the daimyo of the area where he's like trapped in. I like that he's somewhere else. Ringu is snowy, like Kiku of the Lingering Snow. Yeah, no, I like that it ties into the epithet. Let's see. Then a 6-year-old created the Crunch Crunch fruit. Okay. Then in classic SBS fashion, they ask if Jinbei's packing something blue underneath, and Oda answers, yeah. He's blue. Why would it be different? Question 7. I think we've lost the plot here. There's probably not any more good questions here. Does Zunisha poop? I'm sure the answer is yes. And that's how many of the islands in the Grand Line came about, right? Naturally, yes, it poops. Some adventure makes land there. This whole island feels like a swamp. Then eventually the island sinks and becomes nutrients for the sea. Great. The Social Dragons, St. Rosworld, Charlos, and Shauria. What family are they from? They're from the Wasworld family. The parents must be a bunch of idiots. Full name is Roswald Roswald. Alright. I was wondering, since York wants to become a Celestial Dragon, does that mean Vegapunk himself, before he splits into satellites, also at least had a little desire to become one? I see. Was this a shock? This is a different topic, but in my view, every person has big desires towards various things, and only when we have the reason to control those desires do we become human. If we define reason as righteousness, read a Shaka, then things like hatred towards celestial dragons or the moral sense that tells us you must not kill people also come from reason. But if that's the case, then perhaps everyone has a little celestial dragon inside them too. It's my extreme theory, take it lightly. The answer is, it's possible that within humans exists the desire to become a celestial dragon. Next one. In the One Piece world, there are 2 calendars, the Age of the Sea Circle and the Age of Heaven. What time periods do each of these refer to, and what year is it currently? See, casual readers have probably forgotten those exist. Curious, huh? You're thinking one of them must be the older calendar, right? The answer, right now, it's year 4141 of the Age of Heaven. So this is the Age of Heaven is what Robin talks about when she finds the poneglyph in Alabasta. Kahira conquers Alabasta in, I don't know, it's like 206, the Age of Heaven or something. Anyway. In year 1541 of the Age of the Sea Circle. Both are still in use. By the way, on Skypiea, everything happened roughly 400 years ago, but I just rounded it nicely to 400 years. you can forget about this information. Oda, these days ebooks have become mainstream, and there are more web manga than ever, but I feel One Piece often uses wide panels that stretch across both pages, even outside the big splash scenes. Do you consciously design it to be read in print form? Right, both Jump and the One Piece volumes have digital versions now. Of course, everyone's free to read however they like, but the layout I have in mind always is 2 pages as one spread. In other words, Jump magazine, comics, or digital versions read on something horizontal like a PC or iPad. For example, when I do a gag that spans both pages, I sometimes draw the left panels a little bit smaller so that when you flip the page, the joke on the right appears bigger and hits harder. It's one of the visual effects I use in my storytelling. This is a fun one. I like that. So for people reading on vertically oriented smartphone screen, I can only say sorry about that. Old Green Knees, Super Instinct, Captain, VV, SBS. Yeah, we got the age 40 VV and age 60 VV. Continuing the crew getting drawn in that situation. It's cute that Kuma used the drawing of Bonnie as his flag. Can you tell me what's his ship name? It's called the Leap Out Jewelry. All right. Question 13. Luffy's eye pupil are quite small, aren't they? What if he wore colored contacts? What would he look like? Normal drawing of Luffy, I'll become king of the pirates. A drawing with Luffy with color contacts, I'll become the king of pirated copies. Bootlegs. Alright. I'm so excited when Luffy's new Gear 5 techniques, Dawn Whip and Dawn Rocket, appeared. But when I see the word white, I'd naturally expect Punch. That would be even more exciting. So why is it read as Dawn? Hold on a second. Even if you repelled one weirdo, did you just summon another one? What do you mean when it's white it has to be punched? Please, it's not what it sounds like. It's not that kind of manga. Okay. Bonnie's only 12 years old, yet she keeps the appearance of someone in her 20s. Will she stay as a 12-year-old from now on? Out at sea, no one would take a child captain seriously, and looking older was also convenient for her journey to find her father. Now that she's on board the Sunny, which is now in Elbaf, she seems to feel safe enough to remain as a child. Please keep an eye on her from here on out. Bonnie's important. I'm telling you, people. End of SBS. All right. Back to the chat. Back to the stream. We just finished the SBS. We've already read the chapter. Luffy with lenses looks like something out of Boa's Fantasies. Yeah, it does. Roger said Luffy's attacks are even written with white in them, like Reversio Othello has white and black pieces on. I've been saying he's gonna flip the pieces like what happened with Bonnie. Look at Bonnie. Look, keep an eye on Bonnie. She's the key to explaining how all of this is going to happen. So I think I'm right. Saeed said that Kahira is the Arabic word for the capital of Egypt, Cairo. I love that. I didn't know that. And that's great. Yeah, the timeline question was cool. The insight into how he feels that everybody's got the ability to be good or bad, you know, helps explain why he has so many neutral characters in the story and how they teeter the line. And so what else is everybody talking about this week? When it comes to the chapter, when it comes to the SBS, anything particularly interesting? Ian Roger said it was pointed out earlier when Blackbeard was recruited that he's likely in Sorbet Kingdom. The buildings seem to match. Is that so? If that's the case, I would have loved a scene where Eris is like introduced in that flashback, in the Kuma flashback, like in a very minor role, like appears, says a line or whatever, and then like that would have been a cool way to kind of tie everything together and be like, oh wait, like this character's from that's Blackbeard's mom. Oh wow, you know, like that would have been crazy. Time Lord Brandon said, theory: heaven is Skypia's calendar, the sea is the blue seas. I think that it's a old world, new world kind of thing, and technically maybe the Skypia, you know, could use that, but since the Age of Heaven is used on the poneglyphs, I feel like it's talking about like the Void Century calendar, and then I think it's since he's saying that it's still going on, then yeah, there's probably like civilizations that haven't been indoctrinated like Skypia that still use it, but I think it's a AD BC type thing. You know, it's just the years went up to this point, and then an event happened, right? And then it changes. Mizukame said Bonnie and Tama for cabin girls to mirror Buggy and Shanks for cabin boys. Hey. Tama for Nakama. And now will be the 10th and final straw to mirror Aokiji Kazan. No. That one, no. That one, nope. No, I can't ride with that one. First time a full date has been revealed in a manga was in chapter 228 by Nami when reading Nolan's logbook. June 21st, 1120 was the day Nolan set sail from Vera. Second time was in 230 when Robin was reading it. 1122, May 21st, the day Nolan arrived at Jaya. Love that. Wonder if Eris couldn't pay the king of Sorbet and was locked up, like was mentioned in Kuma's flashback, happened to people who couldn't pay. That would be a boring end to the character. But you know what? That's also why I don't. It's also why I'm like, I want them to be at a different island, because I'd like it if Eris was pursued in some way by the government, by Emu in secret. It would be boring to me if, you know, she just got locked up by some rando. That's what it would feel like. Because Bakori to me is just a rando. Like he wasn't enough of a really like interesting antagonist for the Kuma flashback to warrant being a pivotal figure in Blackbeard's life also. But Mizukame, like, if you wanted to have somebody like match Kuzan joining Blackbeard, right? The better version of that than Enel is Smoker. You know, there's already like precedence for it. Like, if there's any character that's already been introduced in the story that I think would be interesting, an oddball, wild card addition to the crew, it's Smoker. He already, you know, has worked with the Straw Hats. He questions the organization that he works for. So it's like it's kind of there. He was friends with Kuzan, so you know. Then you would get a battle where it's Kuzan and Smoker like fighting. You know, I don't know. That's more interesting to me. I want Enel to come back into the story, but I don't think he doesn't need to join the crew. He just needs to offer some exposition and keep it moving. Leo Legendario says, I think Emu thinks Rocks killed them. There's a part in the chapter that implied to me that they may have realized that like they disappeared but could still be alive. But maybe, I mean, that's also, I don't know. I mean, that's a good way for him, a good reason why Blackbeard survives for so long. I'm just really interested in what the Eris story is going to be, and I just don't want to be disappointed by it. Because the character really, I think, is ripe for story, and I don't want Oda to like speed run it or just do a shock death or, you know, something that just seems meaningless. Like, if you're going to save them from God Valley, do something with them before you kill them. Brandon said, do you think it's possible that all Blackbeard and his mom were sent to different places? What if Eris was sent somewhere else by accident? Blackbeard sent to Shadeport, where he's supposed to be from. If that's the case, then I would say that Eris is still alive. And could come into the story in a big way. There's an argument for that just because it's Kuma literally ate the fruit like, 20 minutes ago, so he doesn't necessarily know what he's doing. But the other interesting thing, right, is that he probably, now that I'm thinking about it, he probably is just sending them all to Sorbet because you can only, when you have that fruit, you can only send them to places you've been. So where else can we be so sure that Kuma has been other than Sorbet? So now that I'm thinking about that, I'm kind of on the track that everybody got sent to Sorbet. Yeah, Kip, I'm more on the train that she trains Blackbeard and sends him on the path that he's currently on. And training doesn't necessarily need to mean fighting, but more like training his brain. Giving him that lust for knowledge. Telling him the history and beefing him up, letting him know that, that he's the chosen one. He's the one that's got to avenge his father and take over this world and return everything back to his ancestor, Davy D. Jones, what he wanted. And it's like Blackbeard's going about this situation in such a dangerous way, but it's that beautiful way of writing things that, in Blackbeard's mind, he's the hero. Because Davy D. Jones probably wasn't a bad guy either. So Blackbeard probably thinks he's saving the world. He might be. But I also think it's interesting that Eris is so sure that she'll be safe as long as she jumps in the water. Anybody talking about that? We'll jump into the sea. We just have to swim, whatever it takes. I feel like I feel like I want to read more into that. Like, it's just water is everybody's weakness. Catch up here. Like she's a mermaid? No, I'm not saying she's a mermaid. I'm just saying that water is the bane of every devil fruit user's existence. So it's like jump in the water. Rocks probably isn't going to jump in after them, and Emu probably isn't going to go over the water either. But then, I mean, that would be an interesting thing too, right? Like, how mind-boggling would it be if, in a situation, Eris does jump into the water and being chased by Emu, but then Emu, like, starts walking on water or something. Swimming. It's like, oh my god, what's going on? You know, it's something that would break the perceived rules of the world. Yeah, there might be more to it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, but yeah, I mean, this is a great chapter. It's a pretty straightforward one. It also, you know, in big scheme of things, it feels really short. Also, because of all the double page spreads. Is there a break? Let me know, chat. Taking a look at the chapter one more time, see if there's anything else that I can pick up. If there's anything that else that you guys want to talk about, let me know. Otherwise, we might start winding down. I love the reveal that Davy Jones was the king of the world. And that Emu didn't recognize him as king. Which means Davy Jones might have been a self-proclaimed king. But Emu probably is also a self-proclaimed king. And it's just this battle of, you know... or maybe Davy Jones was elected. Which could be interesting, right? Davy Jones was the one who was elected king. But Emu's the self-proclaimed king that, you know, had followers by via control, right? Which could parallel the what we're going to end up seeing with Luffy and how he's going to be king. Like, if Davy Jones was a magnanimous character that had the same ability as Luffy to draw people to them, and everybody accepted that Davy Jones was king because he was benevolent and helped them and was magnanimous. And then you have Emu, who was a king via control and fear. And there's just jealousy on Emu's part that, you know, they could never get people to just like them. They had to control them, which also buys into the power, right? The ability that Emu has is sort of a... It feeds into this idea because Emu makes you like them in a way. Creates puppets. Creates servants. Davy Jones may have had the Nika fruit years ago. Maybe. But like Luffy was able to turn people against Emu, help them reach their greatest desires, maybe responsible for devil fruits in the first place. Maybe Davy Jones and Willie Gallen, right? They worked together to create devil fruits or something, you know, just making people's intangible desires reality. Anything that you can think of in this world can happen, and then, you know, that's what you got. I don't know, that's my headcanon now, and I like it. Whitebeard part was cool. Again, I still want more from him. Best part is Eris getting sent away with Teach. Because it just makes for so many discussions and theories on what could happen until Oda, you know, decides to give us more information on it. And I love that in some way Rox is able to fight this. Send a message to Roger and maybe Garp. I'm still on the fence on whether or not Garp is actually hearing it or just reacting to Roger hearing it. But I feel like we'll get that answer in the next chapter. It's either going to be Garp saying, "Did you hear that too?" Or "What's going on?" And then Roger says, "Rox is talking to me. Like, he wants us to kill him." What? Okay. That's not exactly how it's going to go, but, you know, it's just a version of it. I would love to know where Eris and Teach went in the next chapter. I'm worried that Oda's going to hide it. It would be nice to know where Kuma went. But this really, this might actually be the end for Kuma. And then, unless he hasn't sent Ginny and Ivankov away yet. So we might, I don't know, Oda might feel like he owes that to send them away too. Ivankov's the first one to work with Dragon, though, if I remember correctly, so it would be nice if Ivankov and Dragon could have a conversation. I feel like the Kuma flashback implied that Kuma didn't actually really talk to Dragon until Dragon showed up with Ivankov to rescue him. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I'm not expecting a Kuma and Dragon like conversation here because of that. I think the next chapter is just like a lot of Garp and Roger fighting Rox, which I feel like Oda will probably feel like he owes the fans, and it might just be like half of the chapter is just them fighting Rox. And with all of this lore, Oda might also feel like, oh, I gotta give, you know, people some action also. Which will make it feel like a short chapter, but hey, you know what? Let's see these legends at the top of their game. Am I still expecting a Dragon and Garp convo? I like it. I don't know when or where it happens now, other than at the very end of all of this. Like, at this point, I feel like, you know, Dragon steals a ship and just leaves on his own. Doesn't have a conversation with his father until later on. What would be interesting now that just popped into my head is if Dragon fakes his own death. Or he's just presumed dead. Because I feel like it's kind of a plot hole that he becomes the most wanted man in the world, but it's not until like Marineford that they put together that he's Garp's son, that the most wanted man in the world, Dragon, who also shares the name with a Marine that should be in their system, and the son of their, you know, top Marine, hero of the Marines. They never put together like, oh wait, maybe this guy is him and he didn't actually, you know, die in God Valley or something. Dragon getting his devil fruit here is appropriate. So, I'm okay with that, Crush. And we've talked about that before, and I would like that to happen. There is something interesting to what you're saying here, Brandon. You know, Brandon said, I like that Emu was essentially playing Othello, like Wano CP0. He knew to change the future, all he needed to do was turn the most influential white piece, which is rocks, black by force. Then that changed a bunch of pieces around him black too, like Big Mom, Kaido. Emu's terrifyingly calculating. I don't know if I buy that Emu calculated what would happen to Big Mom and Kaido in that moment, but I like the idea that Emu doing that results in the bad future that Lin Lin and Kaido have as a result. But I don't think like Emu's cognizant of like doing that deliberately. Other than like, I'm going to take the influential piece because that's what's going to give me the advantage here. Not necessarily the advantage 38 years from now or anything like that. No break, awesome. Okay, that's good. I'm catching up on the chat. Jin said, Eris still possibly a Nico. I mean, I'd like her to still be connected to Nico Olvia in some way. Like, I would love if she's, you know, Marshall D. Eris, and then Nico Olvia is Marshall D. Olvia, and then Nico is, you know, her eventual husband's name or something like that. Young Kuma was still with Eva and Ginny and Sorbet, but Kuma didn't seem to know Dragon personally when Dragon broke them out of jail. Yeah, that's what I thought. Saeed said, yeah, because Kuma read a newspaper 25 years ago that had Dragon as a freedom fighter and said that person must be somebody's hero. Yeah, that's, yeah. People close to Garp probably already knew about Dragon, but everybody else didn't think so. I just think that by the end of this, like, we're going to need some sort of confirmation as to why Dragon was able to avoid capture and connection to Garp all these years. Did Kuma port away without Eva? That's what I want to know. And, you know, if that's the case, like, I don't think it would be a terrible thing. And I don't know if something in the Kuma flashback contradicts this, but it would be nice if Eva and Dragon left together. Portgas D. Eris, said Brandon. Ah, man. Whew. That would just be like, I feel like that would be too savage from Oda. Saeed said, I think Dragon has to stay in the Marines for at least when Sakazuki joins, because it's implied they have a past relationship. there was some sort of an SBS that implied that Sakazuki and I think Kizaru also didn't join until a couple of years after God Valley. But in a similar fashion, I feel like there was an SBS that contradicted when Dragon joined, because I had a big theory that Dragon would be here at God Valley, and then that would like jumpstart becoming a freedom fighter and everything, like him seeing the atrocities here. And I don't remember the specifics of it. I just remember people like flooding my comments saying, no, that contradicts this thing in this SBS, or Dragon wasn't a Marine yet, so it's not going to happen. And then like, sure enough, we get this flashback and he's there. So it's like, I don't know if I can trust whatever the SBS was, you know, and in that case, like, maybe Sakazuki is already a Marine. I don't know.
Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself, yeah.
I wonder why Emu waited 23 years to kill Harold after God Valley if Emu wanted its warriors in God Valley. I mean, I don't know. Zaid said, according to V records and supplementary material, Sakazuki joined 6 years after God Valley, but who knows? You know what? At this point, the Viva cards are cool, but I don't trust them. I don't trust them. If it was from a Viva card and not an SBS, then I'm even more skeptical. Because what was it also? There was the Viva card for Yasuye implied that like he was basically faking having eaten a smile. And then we got the flashback showing that he did eat a smile, completely contradicting the Viva card. And that was when I was like out on Viva cards. Katakuri having his fruit already was also a big thing recently. Was that something that was in a Viva card that like it said that he had his fruit prior to God Valley? And meanwhile in God Valley we have the line from Big Mom saying, I'm gonna give this fruit to Katakuri.
Savage.
Shout out to Mizukame. Appreciate the super. Said thank you for the Bonnie Tama comment shout out earlier, and that you and the fam are doing amazing. Can you please go over the Sun Killer lyrics by Spirit Box? It aligns with Emu, Blackbeard, and Harley text. Is that the name of one of the like openings or endings or something? I don't recognize the song and the artist yet, but I've also been like out of the. I haven't been paying attention to the anime in a while. Yeah, Katakuri ate his fruit 3 years before God Valley, and that's crazy. According to the well, we know now. It's not directly affiliated with One Piece. Well, I don't think I'm familiar with the song either. I'm reading the lyrics now. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I'd have to listen to the song to really check it, but you know, if it might be something that eventually might be worth like a AMV or something. But as for the Bonnie and Tama thing, like, you know, I was Tama for Nakama basically once we met her and knew that she had like a prior relationship with Ace. I was like, we need. And at that time, I was Momo and Tama. Like, they would be the cabin boys, like on Roger's crew. But ever since Bonnie like came into the picture, I do like that idea, and that's a good parallel. But the other thing too that I like about it, and I brought this up when I was talking about like in an old video about could Bonnie join, and I may have even brought up the cabin girls thing as a parallel. I'm always talking about Tama for Nakama, but and technically she's an honorary strat anyway, based on what Luffy said in their last conversation. But I think that Bonnie and Tama and like why Oda has had so many, especially recently, he had it in the past, you know, with like Isa and things, but young girls being prevalent in the past, you know, like few arcs, I think it's just Oda taking his own life and bringing it to the forefront because he has daughters, right? So he's got this very shonen manga that he's creating. He's got a lot of, you know, he's got a very large male audience, but in his home life, it's very female dominated. So having characters that they can, you know, identify with or girls like them, I feel like might be something that Oda is subconsciously doing or consciously. Catching up. Thanks, Novum. Appreciate it. Thanks, Ruff. And same to you. Adam, you seem to be getting a little heated in the comments here. Let's calm down, buddy. At the end of the day, it's the manga first and foremost. So that's that. There's a lot of supplemental stuff out there. But it's until it's actually in the main manga, it can be contradicted and has in the past. So that's it. Time Lord, did you hear about Shamrock's voice actor being revealed? Yeah, I talked about it at the beginning of the stream and how it just proves that that was Shanks at the Reverie, which I've been saying. Neil Rouser said, "Did anyone see Marco again?" Wait, is the Marco there again? What page? Point it out for me because I missed it. If it happened. I'm just, Adam, you keep going off about this stuff. Look, I will not, I'm not going to say anything more than, like, it's manga first. It's manga first. And that I have, that I've dealt with this. And I know it's manga first. Yeah, there's a little crash out in the chat. Why does post-production take long? VFX. I can get into more specific stuff maybe in late March and like get into the specific things. But there's also a schedule of things. And Netflix does not put big shows out at the same time. You'll notice in the scheduling. You know, it's like, it's just, it went Wednesday, then Stranger Things, and then it's going to be us. It's going to be One Piece. There's things that I really want to say to shut down the crash out in the chat, but I cannot say. I cannot. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap things up, guys. If nobody has anything else that they want to talk about with the chapter, I'm gonna I'm gonna call it. I do not know what the One Piece is, and if I ever got the opportunity to know, I would say no. I don't want to know. Thanks everybody for all the birthday wishes. Appreciate it. Great chapter, fun stream. Jake is saying if I speak, I'll be in big trouble. Yeah, pretty much. I think I have that as a thing somewhere.
I prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble.
All right. You guys are wild. Get out of here with that, Joseph Joestar. Alright. I'm done. I'll see everybody for 1165 next week.
I'm about to make a name for myself, yeah.
And a last minute super from Henry DH, who want to make a name for himself as we're ending here. Said happy birthday, Cap.
I'm about to make a name for myself, yeah.
Appreciate that, Henry. And I'm expecting a big fight next week. Hopefully some more lore. Later, everybody.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.